Hey guys, my name is Seniac and welcome back to another episode of OilTown here in City Skylines 2, where it's looking quite bleak these days. The winter is full in the thick of it right now. We're actually flying over our brand new island, which the hustle and bustle has now slowly started. People are actually now moving here, they're living here, they are loving life, or at least I think they are. They could be literally just hating it, but who knows. Last episode, I asked you guys to give me some name suggestions of what we're going to call the island. You guys gave me some brilliant ones. I've picked one, which we're going to be kind of checking out in just a moment. But I think today I finally have to think about solving some of the many issues on the actual main island. To do with death care, police in school. Oh, did someone just turn the lights out? Did I always have a power cut right then? The island went very dark then for a second. I know a lot of you guys have been screaming at me right now in the comment section for quite some videos going, Sonny, you gotta fix this, you gotta do this, Sonny, why don't you do this? Guys, we're gonna do it, okay? We are going to do it. And the plan is to create a bunch of districts and link a bunch of the services to that specific district so we can control the services in that area to see which areas are overwhelmed, which are underwhelmed, overserved, underserved, to make life a lot easier for us. Guys, we're going to transform OilTown into a paradise. Some things that, you know, OilTown and paradise should never be in the same sentence. Anyway, guys, if you are enjoying this series, please make sure you smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you are new so you get notified when more episodes do come out. Now, we had some pretty good name suggestions from you guys in the last episode, but the one that won it more than anybody was from your boy Kevin Jones. He says, how about New Orleans for the new area, which I thought was absolutely not only hilarious, but quite fitting. It is New Oil. I gotta make sure I spell this right. Orleans. There we go, boys. Because it's a new island. It's my first island where there's a population which it's kind of separated from the main island. The airport island don't exist because there's a bridge going across. And we are producing oil on it. So New Orleans is absolutely amazing. Kevin Jones, appreciate that right now. You're an absolute legend. Thank you so much. But it doesn't end there. Because what we're going to do today in this episode, like I mentioned previously, is we're going to create a bunch of districts. Now, these districts, we're going to need a bunch of names for each of them. So what I kind of really need from you guys right now is to give me as many names for districts in the comment section as you can think. And the only thing I really want you to, or kind of want to require from you guys, is you make them oil themed. Like we have OilTown, easy enough. We have New Orleans. It's entirely up to you if you want to use actual real city places or area or country names and just literally change it to make it oil themed, or whether you want to take oil products, you know, famous people in the oil industry. I don't know. Make it oil themed. Give me as many name ideas so I can rename my districts in the next episode to all of these names that you guys are going to come up with. So, without further ado, let's just kind of see what we've got first. We've got this Larson district over here, which you can kind of see how this works. We've got a place over here, which is Pearl Acres, which I can now actually change this a little bit more. Now that we've built more in this area, I can now take it a little bit further. So we're going to bring this all the way up to here and just kind of slightly transform the area a bit. We're going to bring it over and just kind of slightly tweak what we've currently got going on. So bring that all the way over to there, bring this all the way down, and we'll just run it to there. So that's where that district is going to run. I reckon I'm going to bring that just to here to finish all that up, and then we'll kind of create a new district from it. So we'll run that to there. We do have this awkwardness of some buildings sticking out, but I reckon what we do here is we just kind of roughly fine-tune it. And if I turn off the snapping, I can really then start to fine-tune it. There we go. Just want to cover them in the little edge of the buildings. So that's as far as I'm taking. Actually, I'm changing my mind. I'm going to go down here and then just to there. So that's as far as I'm taking this Pearl Acres district. So that's one of the bigger, these are one of the bigger two that I'm going to have. And then we're going to create another one as well. So district creation tool right now. We'll go back to the snapping. So we'll start here. Go to there. Run this down to across. Well, let's just say here, here, here. There we go, to complete that little district, which is pretty nice. We're going to have to fine-tune this one a bit more because obviously it now goes a little bit more around the edges. Making sure it's covering what it needs to cover. Comes down to there, which I'm pretty happy with how that kind of currently goes, except for just here. We're going to get it to run up on the back end of this area, so it just kind of covers a little bit more of that. Now, we've got the Hollywood Hills area here, so we're going to create another new area. And we'll kind of make this go around the whole edge here. So make it go right round. We'll bring it just to there. Run it right... Oh, let me scrap that there real quick. To there, and then run it along the road. To the edge of view. See if I can get it to snap alongside all of this. And then complete that area. So that's like my Hollywood Hills kind of vibed area here. And then we've got this big area down here as well. So what I'm excited about most about this is me being able to kind of then pretty much set up all of my services to kind of serve the districts individually. So it means that the services are not going to be spread out. Thus making them inefficient. And that's, I feel like that's what I'm currently currently dealing with is the inefficiency of a lot of this stuff. Alright, some of these districts aren't perfect, but it will do the job. It will do the job. So we've got that whole area there covered. We've got a little area over here, which currently has stuff in, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. We've got this little area then here, which I'm going to quickly just cover this. Going right round and down. Bam, bam. And then we have our industrial areas down here. Now, I feel like I'm going to split these into two little sections. So, and we'll utilize the highway just to there as being our split. So run this right round the edge. Directly in. And yeah, it does become a little bit tricky trying to get them to ultimately work. But I reckon that does me justice there. We'll go back to the snapping now because I feel like we should be technically okay. Run that down to here. Now this is quite a large area here we're going to work with. So nothing or no surprises are going to appear from any of this. Right, there we go. So we'll start with those areas for now. And we'll just kind of build up from within it. So we'll start on the main island. And over here, we should have a bunch of our services. So the healthcare, let me just view the island as a whole. There's healthcare just here. So the medical clinic, operating district, New Orleans. Now crematorium, operating district, New Orleans. Easy enough. Garbage then, operating district here. And we then have schooling options, which this is going to get a lot more difficult on the main island. But this is for here. You are for here. And then you can truly then see what areas are under kind of serviced, and you can kind of then control them a little bit better. So let me double check that's now got the New Orleans district. Yeah, so I know a lot of people come over here now to access the schools, which that's not going to be the case moving forward. So fire, even though this stuff on the island probably is going to be destined to only be on the island without me having to do anything because it's stuck on an island, it's nice to get it and to tell it where its district is going to go. So I've done healthcare and death care, I've done garbage, I've done schools, I've done fire, I've done policing. I don't know if there's any other stuff that needs to be assigned to a district. If anyone knows, let me know in the comment section down below and I can rectify it in the next episode. So, we then need to start dividing all this stuff up. Now, yes, we do have a lot of... we have 3 crematorium setups here and a cemetery. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to designate them to their own individual areas. So rather than reposition them to begin with, we'll dedicate them to be in a certain area. So the Pearl Acres is solely going to be for that crematorium. The cemetery, which does have quite a large capacity. Actually, no, I won't do the cemetery just yet. We'll make this crematorium here operate in this district. There we go. Did I do it right? I think so. This crematorium to operate in this district. I mean, to be honest with you, you can get it to operate in multiple districts. I can get it to operate in this district, and I can also get it to operate in the Hollywood Hills district as well. So that separates the 2 at the moment. Now, the cemetery, I'm going to get it to operate in districts that don't really have residential areas. So if I go for those 2, this and this, is that too much to ask for, you reckon? I'm not too sure how that's going to kind of play out. But now that we've told them they have to work in them certain areas, we might then start seeing these being utilised for what they actually need to be utilised for. Obviously, you have to wait now all the vehicles to make their way back and then figure out what's going on and who's doing this and all that la-di-da stuff. I'm sure we also have another death care in this area as well. So if I go death care, we've got a death care option just here with a crematorium. So if I select operating area, actually I can make this be the operating area for you. And then who is your other operating cemetery? View you to be over here. The cemetery there, kind of. And this is Bedford Rich. So get rid of you there. So it frees up a little bit more capacity elsewhere. Will this work? I don't know. A lot of you guys have been suggesting I kind of go down this route. So I feel like we kind of have to break OilTown to fix OilTown ever so slightly. But there's vehicles in use in that one. There's vehicles in use in this one. There's a couple of vehicles in use in there. So hopefully now we, rather than having them spread out, we've kind of told them that they only operate in those districts. Thus meaning, yeah, they'd still have to drive a little bit further. But without, it's basically me doing maximum effect with minimal work. That just sums me up in general, right? Right, so I want to apply the same logic to schools. Now, I feel like I might break my schooling system by doing this. You know what I mean? So we have a lot of schools in these areas. And if I select you to operate just here, so I'm only going to do it for the schools in the area to operate solely in that district. That makes sense? I'm hoping that makes sense. So these 2 are done. Them 2 are done. We've got you here. You. And where's the other one? The high school's just there. And you here. So that there is those schools. Oh, you got this one over here as well. That are just solely in this district, and they serve that district only. Now, if the schools here get full, they will then be forced to go to a school out of the district. Only, I'm going to only assume if the school outside the district is not assigned to a district. Does that make sense? Am I thinking that is the correct way in which it goes about doing it? I could be right, I could be wrong. Now, we've got a lot of stuff over here in general. We've got a couple of... we've got an elementary school there, which I'll assign this as its area. I'll leave open the colleges and the universities. We'll leave them open. So colleges, yeah, we'll leave them open. There's no need to do or assign anything yet. As they will be kind of nationwide is the best way to pull it, right? The best way to pull it. So that's all good. We'll leave that as it is. Now, obviously, some areas will not have what they need. Like if I operate a elementary school here, this area doesn't have an assigned high school for it. So that's where we're going to have to come back and kind of slightly go through all of this. So we've got a fair few amount of schools now here. So operate there. Operate here. Operate here. What have I now missed? One here. One there. No, this elementary school is out of the area, but there's no residential in that vicinity. But I'll double check. I will double check it. So, any residents in here? No, it's just employees, and you can tell that because if you select like Larson Park, that will tell you that there's residents. So this school here can be for this operating district. So that's all the schools then there, pretty much done. But obviously this area here does not have any educational facilities for high school. And we're going to implement something like that in now. So a high school, and we'll go for the city high school. We might as well just go big. And I'm not too sure where to place such a building. I think I'm just going to drop it there. I'll add all the maximum upgrades to it and select this operating district here, because that might be an area that we eventually do expand and grow upon. And that kind of then sorts out a lot of the education, but by me doing that, I'm now underserving in areas. I'm going to be overserving in some areas and underserving in others. And that's where the problem's going to lie. I've now created an issue for myself, but I'm also able to control it a lot better. So Pearl, I keep calling this Pearl Access. Pearl Acres has nearly 90,000 residents, right? That's wild. That really is wild. Now, I don't know if there's a way in which I can view who needs to go to school where in what area. I can see from it who's able, or what the education levels are like in this vicinity. But this is now going to take time. It's going to take a while for us to see the numbers shift. It's going to take a while to see, you know, things change. So I feel like we'll just kind of give it some time and just kind of then see what happens. Now, like I said, I can also apply this logic now. Hold on, is there a gap here? Is there no... Did nobody want to build any houses here? That was kind of weird, wasn't it? Anyway, I got sidetracked then. I can apply the same logic now to police, fire, garbage and stuff like that. But I don't really tend to see them issues appear, if that makes sense. I don't really tend to see those issues now appear. So that will be kind of interesting to see whether I kind of designate those services to... I mean, you could say the same logic for schools as well. I didn't really need to do that. Death care was my biggest problem. But we'll kind of see what happens now. I mean, granted, we could locate them a little bit closer to the districts, or at least build them within the districts. That could be the case. But at least the capacity is now set and sorted. What would you guys recommend moving forward now? Should I assign all the policing, the fire, the garbage as well? Should I go down that road? We do have this little area over here now. Did I give this little district? I don't think I did I? No. So what we'll do is we'll kind of go up and around here. Now, you will need a couple of floating areas that are, or floating services that are able to kind of access multiple areas. Education. Now, this has no education facilities whatsoever. So, something like a small elementary school is a great addition to implement. Now, we are falling down the hill here, but I feel like somewhere here will be a good place to build a little bit of a vicinity for functionality. Right, that to there. Do I make it connect to this? No, we will. We'll make it connect to there. We'll abide by the normal. So yeah, we'll run that to there. I'll build a elementary school in, which weirdly and perfectly this road kind of almost runs alongside the middle. So a nice little elementary school there, which will supply the operating district just here. And we could also implement a small high school as well. So if I throw you in just there, operating district just for here as well. So school is just on the other side. Again, it's just basic stuff being implemented in. But we don't have any death care facilities over here, though, for this area. So when it comes to death care, we've kind of covered what we've covered, if that makes sense. Now, I feel like a cemetery will be a good thing to also implement in. I'm not particularly too sure where I would implement a cemetery, because they are quite big, aren't they? Crematorium I could get in. Is it weird to have the crematorium near the school system? Or do you reckon that will be fine? It will be fine, right, guys? It should be fine. Right, run that down to there. Yeah, bit of death care now. We'll get a crematorium just in. No, nothing mental, nothing crazy. Operating district down here. And yeah, there's still a few areas where we're not really serving it with anything. But these areas will eventually grow. These will become like focal points to around this kind of vicinity. So it kind of does work in a weird way. Now, there is a couple of death care icons here that are still floating around. They're well within the area for it. For, I believe it's this one. Per acres. We've got 3 vehicles, which are all... Oh, one's gathering, 2 are returning, so it could be on the way to picking them up as we speak anyway. So that's what could be the case. But we'll see what happens. Okay? We'll see what happens, because it's... Now I've changed some stuff up and told some stuff it can only work in certain areas. It's now simply wait for the problems to arrive, and we'll add and take away capacity when needed. You could argue the capacity is needed in here, but we have the capacity. There's more vehicles now spawned because more icons are now appearing. So I think we're okay. I think I'm just kind of quick to judge at this moment in time. High rents? What do you mean high rents? The rent's pretty good. It's quite affordable to live in OilTown, right? Am I right, guys? It should be quite affordable. How dare you spread these lies? Right, we need to create a district over here as well. So let's now build our final few districts. So we're going to kind of split this. We're going to have a district right here. Because this is mainly just offices. It's an anomaly, I can't even say the word, for this generic area. We'll go around all of this in general. And I reckon we're going to split it down there. So we'll kind of run that to there. A lot of roads are kind of separate areas, so that will do fine. I'm just kind of doing areas in which we've already kind of like technically built within. And we have either employees to like a huge extent. We should maybe also think about running just that there, covering that area. Yeah, and leave it like that. That's going to be pretty good, right? That should be pretty good. So how's New Orleans? Great name, guys. It's an absolute great name right now. Because now we got a district. We can kind of see what's going down on it. You can see that the households, you got the residents, who they are, what they are, educational levels, which is interesting. The stuff within the local services, which I think New Orleans is the only one that we've kind of got all this stuff technically assigned to, right? Now, elementary school, high school is not overwhelmed. Elementary school technically is. Now, is there... How many does the elementary school hold? It holds up to 2,000 people. So you're saying half of them are elementary students? Is that what you're saying right now? I mean, only 900 of them are children. So that just goes to show that some people going to that school right now are not living in New Orleans. They really aren't. They really aren't. This all falls under the same kind of area anyway. We've got a nice little bit of industrial over there. And these are all pretty good as well. So, yeah, it's just about giving it time. They still don't want to pick up anything from these buildings, right? One has not been picked up. Do you reckon it's a building issue? Oh, is this the hearse now? Oh no, I'm on garbage. He's on garbage, boys. He's on garbage right now. There's a hearse on the way back. So would you say that I need to have the death care more localized within the district? Or do you think this and setting the district is adequate enough? I'd really like you guys to have some input on what you think is best fitted for this scenario. It's not an issue. It's just be nice. Oh, hang on. We got an issue over here. No pedestrian access. Replacing it just simply seemed to fix it. Very good, very good, very good, very good. Looking forward for the snow to disappear again. I feel like it always snows in OilTown. And let's take a look as well at the same time. That's the wrong button, boy. At our taxation on industry. No, production. That's what I want to look at. I want to see the surpluses of what we're currently producing. This is something that a lot of you guys have been requesting to take a look at and see. You can see that we actually have a deficit of 19 tons of grain coming in, which is interesting. We have such a huge surplus in crude oil, which is good, which that should then have a knock-on effect to the surplus of everything related to the oil industry. So you could argue, actually, petrochemicals, no. We need to produce more petrochemicals. Okay. Huge surplus in chemicals in general and plastics and pharmaceuticals, all coming from products that at some form in the chain have used oil. A huge surplus in vehicles right now. We are a huge vehicle producer. And then we've got the immaterial goods, which this is stuff that's technically not related to the oil industry, but we allow it because it doesn't have to use any raw products to a certain extent, apart from the people living on the island. Now, let's take a look at the taxation. So if we reduce the taxation to 8% on petrochemicals, would that mean if I did go ahead and start placing in more factories, that we are more likely to get, you know, businesses that produce petrochemicals technically moving in? So if I zone that there, we've got this like a little kind of a corner over here we can also utilize and work with. We're going to place them just over here. That will be an interesting shout. I've lowered the taxation, so I'm kind of incentivizing petrochemical factories to now move into the city. And that will be a nice little way in which we can kind of boost up that production. Because we've got everything excess. Everything else is a huge excess apart from petrochemicals. I should not be importing petrochemicals. Now, which of the factories produce... It is petrochemicals, right? Let me just double check it is petrochemicals. And I'm not talking jibber jabber again. Yes. Petroleum. Petrochemicals. Who produces the petrochemicals? So you utilize petrochemicals. You're a chemical plant that produces chemicals. Right, which of our signature buildings... Right, hold on. The fuel plant... Where are you? Oh, it's all here. What am I talking about? It's all here. You do produce... I was just making sure that this building was being rented out and it is producing petrochemicals. You've just popped in pharmaceutical stuff. Okay. Petrochemicals. There we go. There we go, boys. Petrochemicals. Chemicals. So we get a few factories that are producing it. So I think it is a case of just kind of, you know, building a few more factories, which does provide more jobs, might I add. It does provide more jobs. And that is the way to go forward. So I'm starting to feel like death care is not looking great in this vicinity. Is this just not enough for that one area? Oh, wow. Okay. It's just had a big shock and now just dropped all the vehicles at once. So I think now the game's actually updated to realize what's going on. And now it's just dropped a load of vehicles out. And they're now all on the way. Right. Okay. Okay, I think it's now all updated, guys. I think it's now all updated. We're now going to collect the bodies. We're now going to collect the bodies. And that's got 19. Yeah, I think the game's now updated. I think the game has now figured out what's going down. Right, I might have judged it way too early. It's now realized. That's kind of funny, isn't it? That is kind of funny. You gotta laugh. You've got to laugh, boys. Right, okay. So all these RIPs should be collected shortly. Yes, very good, very good, very good. Right, we've got some area over here which we could do with extending the road network with. So I'm going to drop you. There is a bend here that can take place. So apparently we have overlapping issues here. This might be a little bit of an anarchy job. Turn the anarchy off. And then bend you in. To switch up that transition. This is all going to be factories just here. We've got a little bit of demand for it. But again, with the reduction in taxation on petrochemical plants. What about those two down here that I just built? Where were they? Just over here, right? One is petrochemicals, one is vehicles. Okay, so like I said, there's a few petrochemicals now coming in. Few petty chems, as we're going to call it. Okay, we definitely have reduced the deficit. And it is slowly decreasing ever so slightly as new factories are being produced and the existing factories that have now just been created are now starting to ramp up production of the petrochemicals. Right. Right, okay. Right, all them millions of hearses now, they're all now heading back, some of them. From as you can see. I feel like these two buildings over here, I feel like there's an issue with them. It's as if they're cannot be collected. Because a lot of the hearses I've just collected, and I've just seen a few icons now disappear as they have been collected. But they're now on the way back. I've never seen so many hearses driving about. Wild, isn't it? It is wild. Right, there's one down here driving. I'm not sure, unless he's turning around to go back. Pretty much. There's a vehicle here driving. Which, it's going to... Where are you? To this building here. So like I said, we are seeing the vehicle's now going in to collect, right? We are seeing the hearses now actually working in full effect. It's just we've had to kind of wait for them to slightly update and figure out what's going down. But traffic lights could be useful in removing here and here. Allow a bit more freedom for vehicles to make their way in and out. And because of all these bodies now just being collected, this is going to be slightly overworked. But we've almost got the full extent of all the vehicles out. So, yeah, that has made such a world of a difference. But there's a lot more people dying. So, I could, in reality... Which we're going to have to kind of anarchy all this in. Extend the network slightly. So I've added a few more in so they could utilize a few additional vehicles if they really wanted to. But I don't know how often the game updates and figures this kind of stuff out. But the vehicles are now going back out, so it is a case of just allowing it to now... It's got to technically, like, catch up with itself now, hasn't it? So now that we've assigned the districts to the buildings, and they only work in that district, and that building is only assigned to it, and it only calls upon the hearses from that one building, now we've got to wait for it to kind of catch itself up, and we've got to figure out then, as at that point... Where is underutilized and all that kind of jazz? Like, this feels like it does need an additional crematorium, or is it just a case of we have to wait and allow this crematorium to catch up with itself? These are the things that we've got to try and figure out. So it's interesting. It's interesting to kind of also figure out how the game, even at this point, it's still trying to figure out how it actually works. Right, those new factories that just come in, right? I'm liking the fact that some of them are petrochemicals, which is brilliant to see. A lot of them are all different stuff as well. But that's just showing us that... Let me go to material goods now. That deficit is now 50-odd tons. Oh, it's now going slightly back up a bit. So it's all dependent, really, isn't it? It's all dependent. But we do have a little bit more zoning we could throw in. So that's the back end there. We probably won't be extending it any further that way. And there is an option for me to potentially either extend up to there, but I'm not liking how that's kind of positioned itself. Unless we go for a smaller road and then smack it in the middle to give me full extent of zoning just here. So I'll bring that just to there on that side, and then here we'll go to there. So kind of sucked out the demand anyway. There's not really that much demand technically now waiting. And with all these additional jobs as well, are we kind of reducing unemployment? We are to a certain extent. We are. And now all these bodies being collected. I'm now causing traffic, I feel like, anyway. So a lot more hearses now driving about. Are they collecting? Yes. Yes, they are collecting. Do we need more of them? Most likely. Now, this area, Larson Park, is utilizing the crematorium of here, which has got 12 vehicles out. So we are getting through the backlog. The vehicles are making their way over. They're pulling in. Them two buildings are still having that same issue of not being collected. It's not for lack of vehicles, guys, because we've got all the vehicles there. They're pumping them out. We've never seen so many hearses driving about as we have done here. And how many do like each hearse is able to hold? Is it only one person? I don't know if we know the capacity. I don't think it tells us. But it's all good. The icons will slowly disappear. Except these two. What I think I might do here is delete the buildings. Which also removes the bodies. But it allows me then to have them regen, because I feel like there's a collection issue there with them buildings. I feel like there slightly is. But like I said, we've got to kind of do this, figure out where the issues lie to then be able to kind of fix it. And I don't know whether I'm just allowing the buildings to catch up or whether we really truly are underserving this area. Because as far as we're concerned, this has 1,400, nearly 1,500 residents. And I don't know how many dead bodies are here. It doesn't really say. So I don't know whether, or understanding or know how many are coming to collect. You know what I mean? Interesting one. Very interesting. But we'll end it here anyway, guys. We'll see how these industries do have an effect on us moving forward. It's nice to see what our current surplus and deficits are of these areas. We are getting a few more petrochemical plants slowly appearing, but we are getting a few areas like this one that requires petrochemicals to produce plastics. So it might be a case of I might need to reduce the petrochemical taxation a little bit more to incentivize more of them buildings moving in. Yeah, it could be something that we need to look forward and look towards doing. But we'll go back to extending and growing our beautiful islands. Guys, until next time I see you all soon, so goodbye.